We're on YouTube.
Good morrow.
Yes, that as well. We're on YouTube. Yep, we
Well,
are. I got to shut myself off. There we
echo,
go.
parallel universe going on already, and we've only just started.
I know. And echoes, I've heard a couple of things about echoes here as well, because one of the things about manifesting was that you don't see it right away, and your request or your desire is not showing up, and you get this affirmation that you're not going to get what you asked for. That's actually the echo of your previous frequency. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what you're looking at. You're not looking at the reality. You're looking at yesterday's reality.
Yes.
That might be
That
a
that
little convoluted, but
the echo effect, how it comes back. It's like Chinese whispers. You're never going to hear it the same way. It's going to pick up stuff as it goes along. It's going to change the shape of it, but you're going to recognize it still because it came from you. It's the same as when I was looking at auras. First of all, it was just like this invisible, translucent haze around people. And then eventually it became quite a color. It's got a lot of different colors, and they represent different areas of the body, and what it's going through and what these dimensions are. So the ripple effect is like emotions, chemicals. Yeah, exactly what you're saying. Hi.
oh
Yeah.
dear.
My
Yes.
brain is my brain is everywhere. I'm trying to light a candle so I can stay focused. I'm trying to
Uh,
essence.
yeah,
Hmm.
I'm I'm trying to make sure I don't make any typos, which I think I did in one of the posty post things. But I'll fix it later. I don't care.
Oh, look, it's off the cuff. We're all good. All
Should
right,
be an
we're all.
I and an I instead of a post. All
You
right.
almost
So
sound like I feel, sleep deprived.
yeah, and that's with a freaking nap. And it's gonna be all back on. I mean, it's just Saturday evening here, so I still have to go through, you know, Sunday yet, but it's gonna be rock and roll on Monday,
Yeah, yeah,
but only for a short while.
only for a short while. All
Live
right.
on YouTube now. All right, so one of these days, because I took a couple of positive steps here, in getting us so we can throw this up on Facebook and Rumble at the same time, but also having that placeholder. Like I'm one or two clicks away, so I wasn't able to connect with my personal help desk. He must be busy with his girlfriend, my son. Yeah. So yeah, we'll work it out, but it's just going to be a little more, hopefully a little more efficient soon. And I
Yeah.
wish there was a way to just post like a notice on Rumble, but you can't, like on what do you call it? YouTube, you can do that. You can just put a post up there, but you can't do that on Rumble. They need to get busy with that.
I think you can get notifications on it through Rumble. I'm not sure. We're still learning. We're still learning.
Well, you can get
So
notifications, but it's kind of nice that you can throw just like a picture up and type something in. It doesn't have to be a video. And I don't think you can do that on Rumble. So that would be nice if we could do that. But whatever.
yeah.
I think we had kind of a busy evening yesterday. And that was the rough shot. That was a lot of discussion. But tonight, and I think I know one of the things we wanted to talk about was L's, right? L's and something
Yes. Yeah.
else.
Yeah. Where
L's
did
and
that?
L's and demon awareness, consciousness, control. I think I kind of touched on it a little bit with Lorelei Drock when I spoke with
Yep.
her. Um, yeah, so we got to kind of hone in and not get too distracted by the shenanigans, uh, and not not to get real specific, but it's important that we're able to feel settled within ourselves when we
Yeah.
don't have other people interfering or interjecting or offering their opinion. We need to be solid in our own, not be that leaf that's being blown around by the wind. Because, you know, some of that wind that we're getting blown around by right now is kind of stanky.
Other
Uh,
people's frequencies.
yeah, that
Is that
too.
what you're talking about? Are you talking about other people's frequencies?
Yeah, and just, you know, when people look at maybe a news item and they get all trippy with it, and you're going to pick up on that frequency. But
Yeah.
if you're becoming more and more aware of, well, yeah, it's like they're letting off their spiritual, pardon the expression, they're letting off their spiritual fart, and it's really unpleasant, and it's blowing people in a direction you really don't want to go, and you feel kind of forced because who wants to be around that? That's kind of how you have to feel about it. It's like um, yeah. And it's in all media. And I think I shared that David Icke short, and he came right out there and said it. All of the medias, especially the bigger ones, all of a sudden they're coming out and they're having this lineup of information that they're all looking at. So all of these, and they're getting more and more collective. One came through a feed of mine the other day, and it was like I didn't even know those people knew each other. It was like one of the doctors that's very much speaking out against, you know, the medical hokey pokeys and all that madness that's turning people around and underground. And then
Yeah.
it was, you know, like Michael Jaco and a couple other people that two or three of them that were quite kind of on that same strata of I don't want to say popularity, but and notoriety is doesn't sound
Click.
Yeah. So yeah, well, I don't even know if it's a click. I don't really care. Go have your click. That's fine. I'm gonna poke my head in your room, and when I get what I want, I'm gonna move on. You know, listen to everyone, follow no one, if you know what I mean. You know, don't
Yeah.
get too hooked into any one narrative. Um,
Yeah.
all
Oh,
right.
that's a lot. That's right. People have got to get out there and actually do their own work. You know, one of the things I was discussing earlier today was about the steps into awakening. What is awakening? You know, when you're doing the whole awakening process when you start asking questions. You know, you feel more confident that you know what you're talking about, so you ask the questions. You start getting the answers and they start showing the results. When you start seeing the results, because now you're speaking the right language, you're speaking to yourself, you're speaking to your inner awareness, and something's not sitting quite right with you. So that's why you start delving into asking the questions. Don't look in one location for the answer. You know, you're looking in these different directions for confirmation. You already have the answer. It's your feeling state. If you feel like you're getting pulled to one direction, examine why you're being pulled. Is it going to be in your best interest? Sometimes we're put into situations that go against everything that we stand for. We don't know what the hell's going on. And then all of a sudden, it shows itself. It's revealed to you. But we've got to start somewhere. So by, acknowledging that you gave yourself that first stage of encouragement. When you give yourself that encouragement, you ask more questions. When you ask more questions, you're creating a pattern. You're being able to see what is actually in front of you, what sits right, what sounds right, what feels right. Is it right? Today, and this is the other side of it, everything's double-edged, okay? Everything's double-edged. So the other side of it is when you're aware of it, then you can do something about it. Then you can change the whole situation, your whole mindset, the whole perception of it all. So, yeah, that's what I got from the awakening message today. Like the question was, what is awakening? Where does it start? Well, I don't like the terminology awakening. It doesn't that does not sit right with me because it's like this is a an evolution where our brains kicked in. There was a time period there where everybody I spoke to was having brain fog, a few years back before Jungle Juice Jedi. Um, everybody was getting brain fog. And it was like, oh, why are you getting brain fog? There was all these different reasons why people were suffering from this. I felt that it was a wave that had gone right across, and when it went over again, it cleaned us up. I was sitting there one day and I saw these two white, I don't know, they're unidentified, okay, they were unidentified lights flying parallel right across, right across. And I was like, I wasn't the only one who saw it. A few hours later, a person in Australia had videoed exactly the same thing that I had seen. A few hours later again, we saw it go across the house again, but this time it was like where this one was, right? This one now is. So they weren't missing out one stretch. They were mapping. They were definitely mapping everything that was going on down here. Whatever they were was mapping. So it's like where do we get our awarenesses from? There was this mass upgrade. There was this mass upgrade that took place. And all of a sudden, we all started talking about getting deeper into the spirituality, more visitations. We felt more comfortable talking about the experiences, the ET experiences. We're noticing what's going on politically, the games that were being played. We are being played. That's where I'm coming from anyway. So the questions never stop. The questions never stop. You just keep going further and further, deeper and deeper into the question. When I speak to some of my whatever connections up there, space, whatever, I don't really like terminologies, all right. When I'm in communications, that's when they come in and they tell me things like, we put too much time and effort into thinking about stuff that's absolutely nothing. It's garbage. It's empty space when we could be so much more productive with the abilities that we already have. And it's just basically being able to identify the distractions, what's real, what's not real, what's important to you as an individual. And morals. I was thrown a moral compass code today. And it was like, well, when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, where do your ethics stand? I watch the words that I use, like, where do your ethics lie? I'm not going to say that. Where do your ethics stand? Yep, I'll stand with my ethics. It's just little things like that. That is the magic, the spell casting that we're putting out there, and we're all doing it. So for the awakening part, it's the same as masters. The word master it's repulsive to me. It's like if you are limiting your abilities. You got to a certain stage and then you stopped. Why did you stop there at the master? Master means, it's a stay. It's called a stay. It's a standard. It stays in one position. Mast. You want a master? You're in one position. I don't want to be a master. I'm a forever student. you know? Um, always learning. It goes so much further. Don't let someone ever tell you that you have limited capacities, and you start believing in yourself, your intent. Make it clear with you who and what you want from you. Were we doing it yesterday? I can't remember where it came from. Something came in about oh, it might have been 2 o'clock in the morning while I was vacuuming. It was like people are afraid to look in the mirror and see themselves. And the whole ugly thing, that's somebody else's limited perception. You can find beauty in the smallest thing out there. This planet is absolutely gorgeous. This to me is what my terminology would be the Garden of Eden. We have everything here, but we also have the darker side that are here, that are manipulating the nature, the natural aspects of who we are. They are limiting our growth potential through genetic manipulation, through psychological manipulation. The whole gambit is right there in front of us. We are very well aware of all the tactics, the programmings, the whole lot that they use against us. Now we have to do something about it. We are solution-based creatures. We are forever evolving into something better for the betterment. That's where we kick into our morals and our ethics and what's right and wrong. We started off with some basic rules that applied to everybody, and it worked, right? We were able to grow with that. But now, that's long gone. When people are allowing people to be ruled by not so savory characters of moral mind or judgment, then we got a problem. And from where I'm sitting, we got a problem.
We got
We
a big
need to,
ass problem for sure. And you made a good point about the solutions because people really do have that. And I know you refer to it as a stuck state. And it is a big state without borders.
mm,
It's one of those things where uh, if you find that there's a problem and you keep having the same problem or you keep having the same issue, no matter what terminology you use on that, no matter what it is, if it's on a repeat cycle, you need to break the cycle. In order to do that, you have to start stepping back and looking for solutions. If you can't find the solution, then you need to connect with others that can help you, right? It's the solution. If you're having the same freaking problem, get off your tuchus and figure it out. And nobody's going to help you in any way, shape, or form unless you ask. So, and
yeah,
those people that do offer you that help without your asking, it's probably not going to be advice you're ready to hear. So be
yeah,
careful what you ask for as well, because the thing that I thought of when you were talking about making the changes and the shifts and checking in with yourself, there were things that had happened back in, I think it was 2021, early 2021, and I was at that point questioning everything.
yeah,
And I felt like I had a basket of laundry coming up the stairs from the basement. And I'm sitting there. I was stepping up the stairs thinking, wow, nothing is real. Nothing I have been told is real. And it felt like, people say, oh, the rug got pulled out from under me. Well, not only did the rug go, it was the whole floor. There was a great abyss. You could basically feel yourself in a psychological free fall. And if you have to kind of rebuild that, if you need help with that, great. But if you're one of those people that you're going to grow bigger and stronger personal muscle when you go out and you do that
yeah.
work yourself, that's the solution. If you have that, I could have just crumbled and gone on, you know, it was bad terminology there. I'm not going to use that. You're going to be a part of the nanny state. Yes, it had to do with motherhood. Yeah. No binkies for me.
Well, that's the whole thing. You've got to start taking care of yourself. You have to be your own nanny, you know.
That was bad too. Yeah, I mean, I just thought of that old song. It's like I am my own grandpa. It's not like that, you know.
I don't know that one. I don't know
That's
that one.
not that's not a bad thing. But yeah, it's like somebody marries somebody else and they die or whatever. It's just one of those weird little songs.
Please. Oh God.
Yeah. Yes, but I mean it's that kind of thing though. You do have to get familiar with yourself. And when you do check in, and this is the interesting thing though too, when you talked about ethics and morals and whatnot, because there are a lot of really unethical and immoral, baseless human beings.
Yeah.
So those are the ones that are really going to start to stand out. And when you start getting, when the light gets brighter, the shadows get darker.
Yeah.
So keep that with you as well.
Yeah.
Always be an awareness of that. That's going to be like a really freaking big challenge.
That's what I mean saying. The more we become aware of ourselves, the abilities that we actually possess and use on every single day we're using them, then the darker side, the shadows, it's not necessarily dark, but the shadows show themselves. All right. It's like my grandmother used to say, uh, what does she call it? Quick flash, a dirty flash. And what it was sweeping the pile of rubbish up underneath the carpet. Eventually, someone's going to trip over that and it's all going to be revealed at once. So when you go to sweep it up, you make sure you sweep it up properly right at the very start. So nobody trips over. It was like little things like that actually go a lot deeper than just sweeping up a pile of crap off the floor. This is talking about, being, holding yourself accountable for what your participation is in this whole whatever it is that we're in. This is phenomenal. This is phenomenal to be here existing, having whatever experience this is. In now, I mean, it's not nice in some locations, and we if we'd worked faster, if we'd seen it sooner, we might have been able to prevent it. We have the abilities to stop it. We just got to get up and get out there and do it. We just got to think it. When we use the power of our minds, we can down so much more than what's going on. I'm working I'm playing with the Schumann resonance. Okay, I'll draw a little pattern on a piece of paper and then I want to wait and see when it shows up. That shows me a time disturbance. That shows me how long it takes for it to show up. When I translate the time zone factor and all of that into it as well. But there are telltale signs out there that you can do that make a difference. When you look at a bowl of water or your drink and you're looking at it, you're scrying into the knowledge that's within there. You can now, infuse that with affirmations. That's the power of frequency. And if you watch it, you can actually see the ripples of your breath, of your thought, because you are a frequency and it'll show up in your drink.
Yeah, and you
So
don't need expensive equipment. This has got to be the most, this right here that houses that generated thought because it's not the physical that's generating the thought. It's the essence makes that happen within this brain. And when you're doing that, I have a couple of Post-its in my office where I put my coffee and then I'll have like a glass for water. I have a mug that I put water in. And on those two Post-its, I have a heart. That's my way of structuring my water. That's how I structure my water. One of the staff comes in and she's got some symbols. And so, oh, that's a religious. It's like, no, that's not religious. Those are ancient symbols for the elements. They got
yeah,
nothing to do with religion. And
yeah,
it's a way of putting a good thoughts and memories into that whatever's in that container. So that's the way we can structure things. We don't need to buy a whole bunch of,
yeah.
fancy equipment. Um, and I think were you talking about it's not praying over your food, but it's being showing gratitude for
Yeah.
our
It's
food.
just, yeah. the little things, giving, yeah, it is giving gratitude. It's giving acknowledgement and appreciation. You're about to ingest that. You don't want to be ingesting something with hate and horror and trauma going on. You want to be ingesting something that's going to be positively uplifting. You're taking that ingredient to enhance your abilities, your lifespan, your hair, your eyes, you're keeping yourself mechanically sound and lubricated. So when you go to do something like have a drink or something, even if it turns out you're having a glass of wine or something, and you can bless your own. I don't like to use the word bless, but infuse. You can infuse anything that you're drinking or eating with positive affirmations. You're putting that imprint back into your system. You know, I learned, well, I did a stint there on urine therapy, and I got to see my inner wellness in different levels. I got to see it. Yes, I did say lubricate. I got to see what my body was producing on the wellness factor, and what I needed to put in to clean certain organs out to another level, which was really, really good. Um, there are things that we can do. The body gives us telltale signs. It recognizes what's going on in our system and it tells us. We just got to remember to recognize. Okay, we've got to see it with the real eyes. What's going on in our system? Who's manipulating it? It's everywhere. All right, so there's are going to be there's another wave of awareness coming on all our levels for all of us. So you may get infuriated in the near future because you're moving, you're thinking, you're doing at a lot faster rate than those around you. But, in some cases, and in mine, when you turn around and you give up on someone, they can turn around and surprise you. And it's like, oh, geez, yeah, you did it again. You did it again. You taught me something. So now so we got to be patient. We got to be patient with ourselves, with our growth factor and those around us. We do have to be careful of these are like crossroads. This is when relationships get torn apart. This is when, yeah, everything gets torn apart. But if it's meant to be, it gets stronger. So if you're aware of who you are, what you're doing, the emotions that are going on, the forces that are pulling and pushing us in these directions, there's not just the forces, there's also the parasitical entities. They work within their own forces as well for their own agendas. And then you have what I'm calling the invasion. They're the ones that are running the governments. They're the ones that are not working in our best interests. What is your best interest? What is it that you want from this existence while being here? What are your basic necessities that you need for survival? And
Yeah. Um,
why
and I guess the whole thing with a lot of people don't want to be away from that. They want the support. They want somebody else to do it. And the word in the business, as it were, is entitlement. They are
yeah,
entitled. They do not have, it's a very different, it's not that they're unfeeling, cold, hot, warm. They might be lukewarm, we know about that. They get spat out, right? But I guess the point is when people need that assistance with figuring out who and what they are, maybe that's where you can reach out for guidance. And guidance is something where you can seek some help in figuring out answers. It's still up to you to figure out what those answers are. Nobody
yeah,
can give you the answers, even with guidance. It's to
yeah,
guide you, maybe to help you. It's like, oh, you need a fishing pole. Well, there's a tree branch over there. That's not the right tree. Let's find a different tree. And that's the whole learning process. If you're gonna learn how to fish, and really, it's like you said, this is survival, and I don't think that that's us. This is not about survival. This is about living an abundant life. This is about realizing that we are not abundant. We are abundance itself. And there is always this lack mentality that's just so pervasive in all of societies, unless you're one of those who is more of an elitist. I have met people who have had those entitlements, and don't have a pot to piddle in. But they still feel very entitled. I don't consider them to be an elitist. I think they're mentally crippled, actually. If there's somebody who is not willing, I'm not talking about somebody in mental health who's gone through some things. I'm talking about the people that, it's like they're the first ones to, if you want to challenge what they're doing and help them to grow, they're going to be the first ones to put their hands up and to say, talk to the hand. They don't want to hear it. And that's when
Yeah.
you shake the dust from your feet and walk away. They don't want
Yeah.
to learn how to fish. They're gonna call up and have somebody deliver it.
Yeah.
But having kind of said that, and I know that there are some. Everybody's pretty familiar, most people are, with the weather manipulation and some of the terminology that gets thrown out there. And I did see a very well-known individual talking to someone who was claiming to be an expert. Never saw the young man before in my life, but there you go. Where that person came from, don't know.
Yeah.
Don't really care, because some of it felt very orchestrated. They needed to talk about this to put people's thoughts at rest, because there for a while it was like, well, if you see the streak and it's solid and it's shaped like this, then it's bad. But if you see it and it goes and it's gone shortly after that, oh, there's nothing wrong with that. That was actually a condensation trail. Okay, that to me kind of says you're lying.
Yeah.
And there's no way for me to vet this, because I'm not going to be the one who's going to be able to test that. They do
Yeah.
have they do have evidence that whether it's, I'm telling you, if you're seeing streaky stuff in the sky, whether it's there for a hot second or there for the day, it's
Yeah.
something that they're putting out there that we are breathing. And
Yeah.
it's now creating these new life forms. They're finding new life forms. And it's alive and it's growing. And
Yeah.
this isn't to scare anybody, but maybe if we could kind of take this into the esoteric side and
Yeah.
not see what it is, but what can we embody with our hearts, thoughts, minds with this information. So maybe that's where we can look at the different modalities and get a bigger picture. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, they're basically terraforming.
Um, yes, that's fine what they're doing. What are the masses meant to do? What do we are giving this
What are we?
information? Yeah,
Oh,
what are we going to do with it? We're within our hearts, minds, and asking more from the ether. What is it that we as a collective can do? And some people might be able to say that it's something more individual. Oh, yes, that happened to me. Okay, I guess I can do this now. I guess I kind of do that when I do my Saturday noon lives. I pick up, okay, well, what's relevant today? And sometimes I don't even have time to do like the little talk at the beginning. It's just like get right into the cards,
yeah.
because there's a lot. There was a lot there, and it felt really muddy and heavy. It was hard to, you know, push. It was like you talk about brain fog. It felt like there was fog to push away.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, my one is at the moment is, yeah, we've got to move. We've got to move. Okay, we want to be in a solution-based mindset. Now, when I go out of the house, and because I have to go from, it's like 40 k's to one to the destination point each time, I have to make sure, and I'm in the back roads and all this, I have to make sure I've got my backups, my spare gas, my spare oil, my toolbox, some elbow grease. Did you ever find that elbow grease, guys? Some elbow grease and my bits and pieces. I've got my first aid kit. I've got all the necessities. If I see something on the side of the road that needs help, I'll pull over and help it. If I'm not going to pull over in the middle of the night, because I don't know what could jump out of the bushes at me. So, it's like keeping yourself safe, being aware, knowing what's in your toolbox. This is the toolbox. This is the toolbox. You go with your inner state, your inner awareness. Is it safe for you to do and follow what they are saying? Is it in your best interest? When we're looking at problem solving, solutions, what is in your best interest? Are they providing you with what is deemed in your best interest? So the only one that can tell you what's in your best interest is you. All right. What do you want from this experience? So you want to stop them from having their cell towers that emit certain frequencies that basically kill off populations, environments. It's an environment hazard. As I've said, this is a repeat pattern. We've seen it in the paintings, we've seen it in photos. Anyway, we have to stop that from taking place. If we have clear intent. So when I say clear intent, we're all on the same page. We all have the same feeling state about it, the same awareness of it. We're comfortable that if I say 3, we all know what a 3 looks like. We can all straight away envision that 3. When we have that clarity in unity, we can pretty much take down anything. All right, this is our energy focus. When we become energized, which is all of us knowing our intent, that's what they're scared of. Right? We have these abilities within us. And at the moment, you'll find little clumps here, there, and one of the first times I truly recognized what was going on. I had seen this stuff prior, but I didn't have the recognition factor to what it was I was looking at. And this is the thing about evolving. What we see today, we will see 10 times more tomorrow. And it just doesn't stop. If you allow yourself that growth factor, like you were saying, you're talking about the growth factor that's happening. I mean, they've terraformed. I heard somebody say the other day that this place that just had these massive, massive floods previously had fires. And of course, we know that with the loose soil and the ash and everything that comes from a burn off, the debris is going to be fierce. So, and then to have that amount of rain just dumped at that particular time, that is by design. That is by design. And that to me is, it's one thing to own a river and stop people from fishing and drinking and swimming and living the life that they used to live, that they grew up with, to actually using it as a weapon, as far as I'm concerned. That is if, entertainment purposes and where we're all at the moment. This was, I see it as a design. This was truly designed. So who designed it? Somebody had to design that to happen. So who do we hold accountable? Do we hold the real estate agents accountable because they sold that property that's on a riverbed that, even though it hasn't been flooded in 100 years, still has the possibility of, we saw what happened. Who's going to be held accountable for the loss of souls? Nobody is, and this is what I call the silent,
Conflict.
yeah.
The
So
silent
it's like, Become aware of what's going on in your environment is one of the first things. And when I that is with yourself. Stay calm, have your mental faculties with you. Um, Self-preservance is important, and in your family. Uh, Councils are not. I don't see them. They're just puppets too. They don't have a bloody clue what's really going on. They're the scapegoats. They hold some accountability and stuff, but at the end of the day, they are like the bottom feeders. They are bottom feeders. They'll keep taxing you because the government tells them to. What were they in the old days? They were sheriffs would go around and they would collect the taxes. I think it was the sheriffs or treasurer, whatever it was. And they would collect the taxes. And it didn't matter whether you had it or not, they were going to take it. And they took it,
Hmm.
you know. Um, and they're doing it again. It never ended. It
Yeah.
never did.
They actually stopped doing that here, because there was so much other crimes and whatnot. It was some sort of a policing because the sheriff is different. They take a different oath than the county is. It's just different. The county has more power. The only one here, because New Zealand doesn't have all these layers of government like we do here. I live in a township. There's also the town. There's also the county, and then outside of that, there's the state, and then of course it's all part of the collective of the U.S. states. So,
Yeah,
for us, the most powerful is uh, in most areas is the sheriff. But the others who are more local, so we have our local police who are supposed to be watching out for those neighborhoods. They were not making them evict people because they didn't have the time. They were too busy, going after the bad guy. You
yeah,
know what I mean? If I had somebody who was on a court order and they didn't show up to an appointment, which is part written. They sign that sucker. I'm sorry if you don't show up to that appointment. I am
yeah,
obligated to make the phone call, send out the letter, no response. Guess what? You are fully made aware that will have a warrant out for your arrest, and they will put you in a psych hospital. So
yeah,
that was an obligatory thing that was part of that job. But for the and that was done we did that. We worked with a county. We worked with the county sheriff's department. And they had 10 days to find this person. They would knock on the door and they're going to just do it once. They're not going to go looking for, if they happen to see him, oh, by the way, you're coming up on our list in the car and off to the hospital you go. But the
yeah,
thing is that they're not going to really go out of their way. They got other things that they need to do, like
yeah,
clean up other people's messes.
yeah,
But the only one that is here that I think has just as much clout, because you can sometimes, most sheriffs in these counties, they're not constitutional sheriffs, and those are probably the ones that are going to be a little more in line with maybe an individual who's seeking to have, keep their sovereignty. The only ones
yeah,
outside of that is you can check with a U.S. Marshal.
yeah.
So if you
Okay.
go to U.S. Marshal, and anybody can be a deputy, so check with your U.S. Marshal. This is not advice. Go figure it out for yourself. Go do your own research. But I mean, that's what I have been told.
Yeah.
Um, but I guess
No,
the whole thing too, that what you were actually mentioning about being prepared, and I guess kind of what came through for me was this I don't know cordyceps. I've never heard of cordyceps. I have a like an herbal what is it called? It's herbal astrology, I guess, but it talks about the plant, where it came from,
oh no,
traditional Chinese medicine as the cordyceps, but the imagery is pretty incredible. So
mushrooms.
one thing that came to mind was the fact that there's a bald eagle there, and that is a bald eagle. So please keep that in mind when you look at a bird that they've embodied onto whatever it is. If there are feathers sticking up off the back of their head, I don't care what other representations and colors they got going on, that, if it has those feathers poking up on their head, is not an eagle or a hawk or whatever. that's a phoenix.
Okay. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a phoenix. And this is an eagle. There's no feather on the back of that little guy's head. But if you look
Mhm.
at the fire that's coming up, that's being lifted, that's a genetics. That's
Okay.
a cord of genes.
Okay.
Not
I see
corduroy genes. Don't
I
mix
see
those words up.
golden chains, golden
Yep,
chain, which could be the DNA strand,
it
because
is a
from where
DNA strand. Check it.
that's what I'm seeing. And there's two sets joining together, and they're rising up out of the flame, and they turn into the it's an eagle or a phoenix. What are you calling it?
That's an eagle because there is no feather on the back of its head.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah,
It's smooth. So it really is an eagle. And I think what's interesting about this, and I don't know much about the planets themselves, but it's Jupiter, Pluto, and Mars.
yeah,
This is all those energies. Mars is about conflict, right?
yeah,
Soaring to new heights, energy available to manifest greatest dreams, and don't put any kind of boundaries on those dreams.
yeah,
Passion alignment with knowledge, seek out your knowledge.
yeah,
Energy is in alignment with matter. That's the physical matter. Like the great eagle, you are in connection with the divine.
yeah,
And this is about innate abilities in this realm, and you're still connected. Stay balanced. So this is about, I think this is like connection with heaven and earth.
yeah,
So it's being practical with all those things like you were talking about in the bug out bag, but it's also having the practical groundedness and focus.
yeah,
But, intuition can kind of take a digger if you're going to panic. That's going to
yeah.
cloud your ability to think clearly. Don't,
Yeah.
whatever it is, don't let
I just
anything make you
had
go
a
tricky.
Yeah, I just had a recent reminder, don't, in whatever situation you may find yourself in, and it is hard to not panic. I had to, when I was all bent out of shape. Oh, geez. Um, I had to focus on my breath, being able to scream out for help in the situation I was in. If I had panicked, I would not have been able to clearly get my voice out there far enough for help. That's the situation I was in. So it was like you stay calm as much as you can. It's hard. It's extremely hard it's like it's a force that you've got to fight against. So by knowing that you can do it, you are doing it. All right. So being calm is the main thing that I could, if anybody ever asked me for any advice, that's the only thing I would ever say is because I don't give advice, I give suggestions. So if you can hold on to that balance of staying calm, you can pretty much get through anything that's out there. All right, because it's an emotional thing, it's an adrenal thing. The chemical reactions that go on will put you into fight and flight if you are not calm. Calm allows you to breathe. All right. If you're not calm and you're in panic state, you're going to hyperventilate and possibly pass out and miss the whole experience.
That's a real possibility, just saying.
Yep.
That's a
Yeah.
real possibility.
Um, yeah, back to the solutions part of it is look at what's going on in your area. Work out what is important to you. Because a lot of people believe that uh, that ornament over there is holds that much value because great granddad da 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 da. That could be gone just like that. Enjoy it while you can. You don't need to pack it in your bag and take it with you. You take the necessary tools that you need to light a fire, to have clean water, to make sure you've got something covering you to protect you. Make sure you've got a decent pair of shoes and decent pair of clothes because you don't know how long you're going to be in that one item before. Been there, done that. It's not the nicest of things. You have to look after your health. You have to look after your hygiene. You have to know how to forage, and that's the survival side of it. When we're in this economic state, we expect certain things like a roof over our head, hot water coming out of the tap. We expect certain courtesies from our neighbors. These are things that we expect. They're wants. They're not needs. They're wants. We come to an understanding that there are boundaries, right? We don't cross these boundaries. There's, like I said right at the start, there are a certain amount of rules that we all worked with, and they got disturbed. And as soon as they got, this is the whole divide and conquer. As soon as that took place, that was the downfall. That was the breakup of the entire group. All the rules, they just went out the door. We had punishments in place for those that wronged and went against what we did. And it might sound like it's a really horrible way to live and stuff, but we do it under courtesy. We do it under community. We do it under wellness. And yes, those guys out there have gone there and they have hijacked, manipulated all of those areas. We can see it because it doesn't sit right. When they turn around and say they want to put 1,000 people in a friggin' building like that and give you all smart devices and fry you from the inside, what else can you say? You know, we gotta wake up to the environment, the pollutions and stuff. We know it's going on. There are people out there that are chopping down these towers and stuff, and I say, yeah, absolutely. If I was able to do that, I would. There are things that I can do that I do, right? So that these next generations, one day somebody walking down the street and they'll find a tree in the middle of nowhere that bears fruit because somebody was a guerrilla gardener once. They throw the seeds out here and make sure it grows out there. The little things that we do every day, they do hold weight later on. They do have ripple effects. Your footprint does count, until you get wings and you don't have to, we can just like you know
Yep.
what do you hold dear? Because we're being attacked on so many levels. We've been hijacked, we've been manipulated. There's going to come to a point when people are going to go, no, we're not doing this anymore. Humpty Dumpty, you're just off the rails. We want you out. There's been times in histories where people have come together and there's been a revolt. They've turned around and they've hung these people in these positions and they've started it all over again. I'm not suggesting anything, by the way. I'm just saying history fact. You know, Stuff has happened. There are equipment out there like all these aquatic body bags. What does that tell you?
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's thousands of them. All
I,
these.
I and I think that one of the things that I got was about breaking this cycle. The only way you're going to break the cycle and break out of what's on this repeat, I feel like that not just humanity, but the existence of this place is in a negative cycle. They can say, oh, well, you're ascending, and then you have all these yugas that go around, and then it's just a cycle. And it's like, well, to me, that doesn't make, I mean, it makes sense, but if you really want to make a real change, that's the cycle that needs to be broken, and continue with an expansion. I don't like the word ascension. It's more of an expansion. It's taking up greater space. It's having that realization
Yeah,
that we have the collective and individual responsibility to do things in a different way. And I don't think it's about any kind of violence. It's not about, so So a lot of the things that you see and in the media has been staged, and people are coming forward about it.
Yeah.
That a lot of that stuff is staged. A lot of that is CGI imagery. People say, "Oh, it's AI." Well, it could be a combination of AI and computer generated imagery. So it's very, very sophisticated, and you can't believe what you see anymore. That's
Yeah.
where the intuition has to kick in, where you might see something that's a little different or a little off. But if you're not one of those people, and unfortunately there are far too many of them out there, do not see a difference in the public figures as they appear on that boob tube. You know, there's a reason they call it that, because that's what it turns you into. You, lo- Sorry, really bad pun, but you might lose your mammary. You're gonna lose your mammary. You're gonna lose your mammary. But yeah, you won't remember things. You won't. And there's a lot of subliminals in a lot of the old programming, or and programs. But I had a family member who said that she had been doing some reading about one of the subliminal things that they will do, and they'll put it in the body of whatever TV show you're watching, and then on the commercials they'll have it in there too sometimes. And it's not, makes you want to go get a shake or something like that, or a burger at the place that you shouldn't be going to anyway. But
Oh,
what it is that and they'll place it in strategic spaces, and you will forget that you will remember the commercial, you'll
yeah.
have those cravings, but you will not remember the TV show. Because I know she said, her husband goes, "Well, hey, oh, this is going to be on shortly." And well, what is it about? I thought we already saw that one. He goes, "No, we haven't seen this one. It's about," and he said what it was about. She goes, "Yeah, we saw that last week."
Yeah.
He had
Yeah.
no memory of it. He sat there and watched it like it was a brand new program. And
Yeah.
sh- and it was like, this wasn't even about the entertainment factor. It was about um inducing some sort of subliminal level. And I don't think it's about getting you to go out and buy ice cream or this, that, and the other. It's really about, you're talking about manipulation. It's manipulating your thought processes, and how it's setting you up for like a predictive programming event. And it's
Yeah.
done in little tiny bits and pieces, and that's kind of what is a little bit concerning. And they can do it to anything. They can do it to any of the shows and whatnot. I had something in the back of my mind about something that you had said. Now I can't remember what it was, but
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. When you were saying, yeah, you just did that to me then. Okay, the brain fog. There
Yeah.
was a time there when I had like I was like that. I could sit down and my housemate would say, "Oh, we watched this, da da da," and I'm like, "Well, I don't remember any of it. I don't even remember sitting there with you watching it. So, when did we do this?" And I'm like, have did I've got missing time. So while the physical was there, watching it, it wasn't on a conscious level. The version of me had like left the stage at that time and gone somewhere else while the physical was still there sitting in that position. Or like autopilot, something else is just keeping it going, the basics, da 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 da. You can interact, but you're not actually there. So then you come back and you like catch the end of it, and it's like I've done that several times. I've sat down and there's been this one or two movies that'll come up, and I'll be like, "Oh, I think I watched that, but I don't remember it." And I'll sit down, I'll start watching it, and then for some reason I'm gone again. And when I come back, I just get that last little end bit. And I'm like, how many times is this going to happen before I actually get to see the whole movie? Because I know I keep seeing the ending, but I don't recall the rest of it. So there is something in that that triggers me to a point where I'm gone. I bugger off for a while, whether I'm being hijacked or whatever, because I also look at the, subliminal messages within everything. You know, the music, the frequency is not the same as what it would be like in person. It's always, you know, a couple of bars different via the internet. No matter what they say, you know, no matter what the technologies are, unless you're right there feeling that frequency from it, you know, you can get to a certain degree when, like, if you played your bowl, or something like that, or bells ringing, or, you know, you can get a certain degree of, yes, if that frequency is familiar, you recognize it because you've rung that bell yourself, or you've heard that tone somewhere else. So it is a little bit different than when it's in person. So frequency is very important, being able to differentiate the frequencies that are coming through. The other day, this is a little side thing. The other day, I drew. It's on another page. It's on the other page now. I go through so many pages a day. It's crazy. But I drew a box. It's got lines. Oh shit! It's just easier if I just bloody find the page and show you. Well, there you go. At the top, up here. I know, look at my scribbles. Okay, up here. See this little picture here? Oh, yeah, there it is there. So
Mm.
there's the device. It turned out yeah, that device is a drone. That thing there is the back of a screen. You see the screen box there? Okay, so that's the back of it, and that one there is the front of it. So they'll be able to portray images, adverts, TV programs, and you'll only be able to see it if you tune into that frequency, but you'll have to have a paid membership for that. That's what came to me the other day. So yeah, there's another one. I don't know where this information comes from. I'll tell you, I don't know where it comes from, but it comes in, it makes some sort of crazy sense to me. You know, it'll show itself. If it's meant to, it will show itself, and I will see it. I will see it being designed. This was all to do with the robotics, and something star something the other day when it came through. But we haven't discussed the L's. We were going to discuss the
Well, before you move on, we'll talk about the L's. You mentioned paid membership, and I immediately got this image of people who it's not like you're signing up to have, you know, YouTube Premium or Amazon Prime. This kind of membership is paid in a different way. It's paid by giving up your I don't want to say rights, but really your sovereignty, I guess, in a way. Um, they can still take your sovereignty and keep your rights. I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody, but this paid membership is not going to be done with money.
no.
I saw like tattoos,
Yeah,
maybe like microchips. You know, the dogs that the breeder that I get my dogs from, she microchips all of her dogs. And, you know, I kind of get that, but that's what they want to do to these dogs. And there are different ways that they're going to accomplish that. They're not going to necessarily have to put something injectable in. It's
yeah,
they could, you know, with the nanotech. But I think that's the kind of paid membership we're talking about. And I think when people say, oh, they're going to do this and oh, they're going to do that, and it's like, but it's not going to play out how you think it will. And you don't want to be that frog left in the pot of boiling water, man, because you ain't going to be able to jump.
yeah,
It's not gonna be fun. So making yourself aware of it now, hey, that's just hunky dunky. That's just
yeah,
hunky dunky. I did not picture myself living this life at this particular point in time in my life.
yeah,
Believe you me, I was a stay-at-home mom, you know, less than 15 years ago. And look at this, you know, it's just different. It's playing out different, completely different than expected.
yeah,
So keep an open mind is the other thing that kind of comes through. And that is kind of the whole idea about the L's is keeping an open mind and making sure that as soon as I said the L's, some cards fell out.
yep.
I think some people are going to get disappointed.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
There's gonna be some I want to hear what you have to say about the owls. Is it going to upset people? Because that's what it kind of looks like.
Oh, look,
Go for
honestly,
it. Go for it.
yeah, it's 111 on the 13th of the 7th. And
And
we're
it's
talking about
and it's
owls.
9/11 here. So
Oh, okay. Yes, my mind is working overtime. I've just got to write this down. If I don't write it down, I won't make sense of it later. Okay, so the owls, I see them as like, we've got the Elohim, we've got the Michael, we've got the angels, there's all these different, okay, it comes down to phonics for me. It comes down to the energy manipulation, who's doing what. Like at the end of, like the ED will equal, if you can imagine a box that has ED on it. And when you hear the word added or anything that ends with ed, that portion of that energy goes straight into that box that's labeled ed. So this is energy harvesting, energy direction, right? So then that box is used by that collective for that energy purpose. So when I hear about, you know, the archangels that end with il or
L,
l, or
L, yeah.
you know, l.
Hmm.
I think about where that energy is going. It's the same as when I look at the word like situation. Shin is to me is also Zion. So I'm looking at the Zion connection energy. So I have to break that down even more. Something on. So something is taking this energy on. So when I use a word that has Zion in it or Shin in it, that's when I go, okay, well, now I break that word down. So you can see you can break down into three separate words every time. So that energy is going to these different locations and is being used by this particular frequency connection. So the owls are this to me the same as the shins, same as and this is where surnames or sire names come into it as well as like we can break most of the names that we have coincide with generational skill base. Like what were the Smiths? What were the Joneses? What were the Hand sons?
Coopers, the Coopers.
Yeah, it came from the trades that they were having at that particular time. Before that, it came the surname. Everybody in the township, in the community, had the same names. It didn't mean that they were related. It just meant that was the location that they came from, right? So then that the marriage came in, and then the name, surnames, the sire names came in from the skill trade, and it's the energy base. It's where this energy comes from, where this energy goes, where it's directed. We in our time we have the monarchy. We don't have empires anymore. There's no empire out there. There's just chaos. For me, an empire is a community of people they all want to achieve the same thing. If we didn't have money, we would have a bartering skills. If we had a list of the basic necessities, like how much does a person need to consume every day and of what? And they should have that. Water should be clean and drinkable and be able to be infused with whatever magic that you want to infuse it with, not chemically induced by fluorides and other toxicities, medications to change your environment. The amount of people that aren't aware of there's a lot of Alzheimer's and other reasons the body breaks down as fast as it does. Hot water is one of them. both on the exterior, what we do to ourselves every day when we have a hot shower. When you open up your pores and you're using chemicals like shampoos and soaps, you're building layers of toxicity underneath your skin by doing this. I'm not suggesting you don't go and clean yourself, because there are other ways, other products that you can use that are less invasive on your own system, internally and externally. But when they're pumping it through without your control over it, that's a war state for me. That's like, no, that's not for my best interest. Now I need to counter that by making sure I put another nozzle on it with my charcoals and my this and my that before I even get to have a shower. you know, and it's getting down to that. You got to treat your water before you shower in it. I don't believe that cancer, skin cancer, comes from the sun. I believe that it's from the research side and the working in that medical side, the lab testing and stuff. It comes from chemicals that you rub on your skin, and then it has activation from the sun. All right. Activation from the salt water, activation from this and that. The same as the chemtrails. They have to be activated. So they'll spray them out as certain individual compounds, but when they mix with the atmospheric whatevers that are out there, then boom, they turn into something different. All right. They collect compounds. The same as how I see these different things that we're on develop. Bit of dust in space gathers a bit of mold here and there, and before you know it, you got civilization.
Yeah, and even those toxics, the whether they're toxins or just, people are reacting to things like pollens, and people were
Yeah.
never really that big. Everybody and their brother has an allergy to pollen, to this tree, to that grass, but there's also, like you're talking about, the activation there. It's not just the towers per se, but I think it's a collective of different electronics, and there's that word again. And I'm sitting here looking at this word. I wrote down the Elohim, the angels, the Michael, and then if you look at the word electric,
Yeah.
and it's an L. I don't know what EC is, but there's definitely some trickery going on, because
Yeah.
it ends in trick. So
Yeah.
people like, well, that's really far-fetched. Well, not really, because again, it's this programming thing, that we're kind of assuming that it's kind of silly. Well, why are you thinking that it's silly? Be open-minded. Don't be disappointed. Challenge yourself with this stuff. But the L's, and even from what we've been told for history, we're not even really sure a lot of this stuff is accurate.
Yeah.
I cannot take, when you look at a way, well, a lot of people are looking at the information that's coming in as far as what is theoretically happening behind the scenes, as it were. And you look back and people are basing this contemporary story on historical data, and some of the historical data I've been finding has been kind of more or less down to like at one, possibly two sources that are online that were downloaded, 100% downloaded. There is no, there you talk about empirical. There's no evidence in any kind of text, scripture, geological, and they're uncovering a lot of stuff, and they're saying, well, they didn't tell us about the giants, or they didn't tell us about this, they didn't tell us about that. Well, there is nothing that can support, none of this can be vetted. If you can't vet it, and
Yeah.
there's just something that just kind of makes you want to twitch,
Yeah.
that's when you have to kind of say, okay, I'm not going to say it's true. I'm not going to say it's false. I'm just going to say, let's put it over on the shelf. Because there
Yeah.
might be bits and pieces. None of us can get everything at 100%. Because at
Yeah.
one website, I'm not going to say what it is, it's 100% downloaded information, and it was put out there many years ago. I mean, I'm talking not like 4 or 5. I think it was like 10, 15 years ago, like when the internet was, still in diapers.
Yeah.
that's when stuff was being put out there because they saw the venue. And if people think something is old makes it more valid, no.
Yeah.
No, I was studied music in my youth, was quite good at it. And when I was getting ready to go home, I studied with a Detroit Symphony professor. And I told him, I said, well, I guess I'm going to go home. Practice makes perfect. And he looked at me and he goes, no, practice makes permanent. And you're doing this, this, and this wrong. So this is how you have to do it.
Yeah.
So you have to unlearn. We have to unlearn a lot of that stuff. Practice
Yeah.
doesn't make perfect, it makes permanent. So if you're doing something that's hindering your growth, you have to kind of dismantle that stuff. Not comfortable because you feel really, really vulnerable
Yeah.
when that happens. I mean, it can be really uncomfortable.
Yeah, but it's a growing thing. We don't like it, but it'll, it helps us grow. I don't know how, all these moments when we've had frequency wash over us. Many people have got downloads at the same time on the same subjects, and yet they're miles and miles apart from each other. So that, we don't, it'll take us into uncomfortable areas because we're unaware of what's actually going on. It's like when you start getting those pains in the back of your head and you're going, oh, geez, oh no, I've got a tumor. Oh, God, oh, geez, now I'm overthinking.
Yeah.
Now I'm perpetuating the chemical reaction, and it's focusing in those areas. So I'm sending this energy to those areas where I should be going, oh, I'm embracing this sensation. This is okay, this is what this feels like, da da da. And don't give it too much more thought. Just be aware of it, because this is what the whole thing is. It's about being aware of these little disturbances in the force. You're all Jedi.
So you know what's interesting though, because when I talked about that one website, that was only one person. One person was the author of this huge website, and it was like a freaking encyclopedia.
Yep.
But when what you just mentioned, I take more credence and credibility if you had an idea, a notion, than somebody else over here on the other side of the world. Doesn't have to happen exactly at the same time. It can
Yep.
do. It's all about being in alignment with receiving that message and that it's relevant and that you and maybe five or six other people are getting the same message, the
Yep.
same thing. And it might take on a slightly different angle or perspective, but it's the same message. And
Yep.
to me, that is a very organic representation of what we would now call remote viewing. And it's not something intentional. You're not being given coordinates. You're not sitting there doing and writing things out and drawing. You might draw pictures, you might write things out, but it's not something that's regimented and it's like, okay, here's your target. And then you go into a meditative state and there you go.
Yep.
No, that's not it. You're given this gift of alignment with this message, and just like with the physical representation, you take that and you honor it. You write it down. You do whatever you got to do. Me, I have this little crummy little phone, and I'll dictate into that phone no matter where I'm at and what I'm, well, within reason. I might have to jot a couple things down and then talking, if you're a meeting or you're other people, it might not be appropriate. But you find these little things relevant, and I think your brain tries to make connections as well. We talked about the synapse the other day. Um, One of the things about the L and the movie that came up in my head was, and most people know, Forbidden Planet. And
No, I
that
don't know.
had it was from the mid 1950s. Um, and it was a serious role, but most people think of Leslie Nielsen as a comedian from all his,
Yeah.
airplane and all that silly bit of business. But he was a very serious actor at one point, and the Forbidden Planet, they couldn't figure out why these people were dying. And what it was there was a beast that was created out of the electrical field. and they
Okay.
had no way of combating it. They didn't
Okay.
understand. It was totally out of their realm of knowledge.
Okay.
So that's the other thing too, when we're being faced with these things that are very different. Again, don't throw them.
Yeah.
Um, the name of the planet, though, I just looked it up here. The name of the planet that they were visiting is called Altair 4. So it's
Okay.
alt, so it's different, and the air is different.
Yeah.
Altair 4. And fours have been coming up a lot.
Yeah.
Fours
Yeah.
have been coming up a lot. Fours and
Also,
eights.
so
And
that's
that all
like,
ties back in with the L's and the power that they have. I feel like they're here.
yeah.
They're always here. And it's
Yeah.
just not manifesting in the same way.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah, it's in the energy. I mean, when you look at your power companies, we're all hooked up to either some gas or some electricity or a phone company, airwaves, invisible airwaves, energy waves. And we're told they come through these power cables and stuff. Yet you can walk around somewhere and you can give somebody an electric shock, you know.
yep.
We generate this kinetic energy, this static energy that comes off us. We can create these energies. You can tap into the trees around us, even the earth and the plants, to generate electricity. You know, you can get a current, you can get a voltage from it. So now you look at your power company, how much money do you pay every month for your utilities, your power bill. You have invested that much money for how many years, generations into these power companies that should be completely freehold, that should be completely clean electricity to everybody on this planet. Not one company, going around saying you're in debt, we're going to cut you off, da da da. And if you aren't connected with us, then we're going to condemn you. And communities are doing that. And I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah. You're
These
succumbing to
companies,
the program,
monopoly,
right? Yeah.
yeah. I mean, they've been trying to keep all this knowledge about what we can tap into secret for years. We're not having it anymore. I say that, but I can see us doing it again another 100 to 200 years, And this is the other
Break
thing.
that cycle, baby. We got to set it up to break the damn cycle. That's all I'm saying.
Yep, absolutely. And everybody's waiting for a bloody savior to come back again. You be the savior. You lead by example
Hmm.
and then watch everybody doing the same. You know?
And I
Yeah,
know that I can't remember one of the provinces in Canada that are gonna, or cities, they're gonna ban all vehicles, that are under a certain year. And they're also gonna do, I can't remember it was just absolutely ludicrous.
yeah,
People was like, who is this guy? You
yeah.
know, but he needs to be put in a straitjacket or something. But the other thing too is when you buy that total 100%, I have a hybrid, but when you buy that 100% electric car and you go to one of those charging stations, I hate to tell you this, that electricity is coming from a power plant that's either going to be nuclear or it's going to be it's going to be powered by coal. That's the plain and simple facts. Natural gas maybe, but you're still burning some sort of a fuel. And the other thing is too that they're using these lithium batteries. And if you look at what that lithium battery comes from, go look up and get some images of the mines where they're harvesting this, and it's hugely toxic. And where they process it, uh, it's the whole, it's like this huge fields where they're processing the lithium and they're trying to like recycle it even. And it's hugely toxic. Nothing can live around it. If a bird were to land on it, you'd have, lithium bird soup. The, nothing can survive this stuff. It's just bad, bad news. Great. It can help us. There's no such thing as net zero. I'm sorry. And I heard a guy, they're talking about the cow farts. Okay. If you look into the science, and I've seen several of the farmers talk about it, the it's not the poots, it's the burps. There's like 10 times more from a cow belch than
Yeah,
what there is the coming out the other end. So, people have to kind of wake up again, and that is an awakening. Expand your awareness, and you got to figure this out. You got to look at the deeper meaning of these things.
yeah.
Um, People say, well, hydrogen. Oh, we can go hydrogen. It's like, no, I think it's beyond that. What you mentioned earlier, about being connected, and we have the energy, that's all around us, and we can manifest it. We just don't have the ability to harness it. We have in the past. That's
Yeah,
what, and you look in the 1800s, they had all of this.
I
They had
say
all
don't
of it.
limit your imagination. Don't limit your imagination. You
Yep.
can zap it. All right. Just keep remembering, keep telling yourself you can, you can, you can. You're that little tank engine. I can get up that hill. Uh-huh.
Maybe you need to talk to NASA, and they'll remember how they got to the moon.
Get real.
Because that was a lost technology too, right?
Yeah, lost. You're lost in
That's what
what?
they said. They lost the technology. That's what they said.
Yeah.
Oh, I say you can't lose what you never had.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway.
Exactly. So are we gonna get back on track or?
Yeah, well, that was the L's.
I don't think that the owls are as good as everybody makes out them to be, because it's at the end of the day, it's hijacking your energy. And if something, some presence has got a knowledge or a knowing, and they're not sharing it with you, and they're keeping it to themselves, and they're taking it from you, then it's like they're not working in your best interest. So, energy goes where energy flows. It's like remember our spellcasting, remember the phonics that we use, because this is our participation. We were given the voice, we were given the word, we were given the skills to be able to control that word. We don't use it with respect anymore. We use it as it's like, it's always going to be there. You try being a mute for 1 week. I'm serious. I had concussion and I couldn't speak for weeks. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, moving on. Okay. I don't, until the owls prove otherwise, and the Zions and all of those connections, that they're going to share that energy for wellness for all, then when people turn around and say Gabrielle or Michael, or all these archangels and stuff there, I haven't seen them do any good for me. All right. It's like a whole God aspect. You are asking me to believe and follow your guides, your belief system. But for that, you haven't proven to me that I should feel safe enough to go down that route with you. But I do appreciate the fact that you're doing it so that I can see the result when you get your results. When you start sharing your findings, there will be something that will telltale or show we're not all going to resonate with the same tracks that are out there, the same paths that are, and when they say all paths lead to the same junction, well, that's up to your perception of where it leads. Okay, where do you want it to go? Or are you just going to keep following somebody else's story? You know, now I got the people reading was after the questioning. When you start questioning, these are the trails that you know you're awakening to something else. You see people for their truth. You see people for their true colors. It doesn't resonate with you anymore. And you have to get to a level where you can't pick fights with energy, wasted energy. You just move on. And the next part was people reading, the whole body language, the body tics that they get. You can see, you can read them when they're telling you the truth. If you stand in your complete truth, right? That you can't lie to yourself, because then you know you're lying. And you want to be truthful to yourself. If you want to have that inner connection with your inner child to get out of any kind of stuck state that you've been in because of whatever happened to you when you were younger, you got to make friends with yourself. And the only way you can do that is build that trust factor. So you have to first stop lying to yourself. Stop doing self-sabotage. You've got to recognize the signs and the stages before you can do something about it. You can't change it if you're not aware of it. All right. And then it was like the voice will tell you a whole lot of stuff. The tonality of the voice, the speed of the voice will tell you. If someone, like, when I was working in the care homes and retirement villages, the elderly would be ages since their last visit. It could have only been 10 minutes, but to them it's ages has gone past, and they haven't seen anybody for ages, and they want to share their whole life story. Now, when I've recognized this in um, the victim mentality, the when you've been traumatized in one way or another, you want to be able to open up. And as soon as you get that opportunity, so much just comes flooding out, and just blah, 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 at high rate of speed, because it's the first opportunity you've had to actually open up and connect. It gets slower, it gets easier, because the floodgates are you're no longer a dam. You've allowed that flow to come out, and now you're going to be releasing everything that got flooded is going to come back down into a tiny little trickle. All right, and then you've got to clean up all the debris that you leave behind around your space. So what happens in nature and in life also happens in psychological healing, deep trauma healing. So when you start saying, when you're honest with yourself, and your inner child is listening, and you're telling that child the truth, it makes you feel so good. There's the feeling of, you're standing in your truth. You know that nobody can take that away from you, no matter what they say, no matter what they do, no matter how they act, whatever they throw at you. And they will throw whatever shit they can, right? Just to break you from standing in the truth, because that's the design. The design is bullshit, excuse my expression. It's by design, okay? It's
Yep.
created. It's not that it's not working for them. Of course it's working for them. It was designed to work. Um, I'm basically at a stage where I'm telling people, just wake up. Realize it. It's really happening. If you can't bloody see it now, I'm not waiting around for you. All right, so the next one was the fluidity, the way it flows, the way your energy flows. Then we got walk, talk, shadows. So it's like you got boots on the ground, boots on the ground. You got to get out there. You got to be the leader. You got to, lead by example. And then I got talk, same thing. Stay in your honesty, stay in your truth. It can change tomorrow. What your belief systems are today can totally change in a heartbeat. It's called perception. You might see some little golden little thing that shows itself, and then everything's been illuminated. It's changed color, shape, size, feeling state. Don't get shitty about it. Allow that growth factor. It's like I say to people, if you make a mistake, it's one thing to go and keep repeating that mistake. It's another to admit that you made the mistake and do something about it so it doesn't happen again, right? Um, okay, what else? So that was transforming, terraforming. Oh, we got to trauma bonding.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, scheisse. Yeah.
We can
Yeah.
always you can always save that one if you want, because that is a heavy duty one.
Yeah, because I mean, it's one thing when you're dealing with a narcissist. It's a whole different thing when you now have this trauma bond, and they don't have to be a narcissist, but when you go through your own growth spurt, and you do become healed, and that other individual does not, or
Yeah,
vice versa, it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be really, really rough. And I know somebody who's going through that right now. It's been really rough. And so you
yeah,
got two options. You can kiss and make up and figure it out, or you can give it a break, and when you feel better about things, and you can get back together if that still is a viable option. Because just keep it in your mind that there's a possibility that that could be a thing.
yeah,
And that being said, it's a choice. It's a choice to stay in that toxic relationship. And if it is
yeah,
a trauma bond, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not going to work out. The thing is, you gotta go through that healing process. Don't rely on somebody else's trauma as your trauma buddy.
yeah,
That's your trauma buddy. Hey, we went through the war together, and we're both like really messed up and turned upside down and inside out. Okay, great.
yeah,
That's not healing. That's actually cementing in the trauma. And
yeah,
it's not comfortable to heal trauma. It's very uncomfortable. And it doesn't mean you sit there and bawl your eyes out. A lot of times it means, and it's okay. It's okay to grieve. You just don't want to live there because you're
yeah,
creating chemicals. You're creating those chemicals in your physical vessel.
yeah.
So yeah,
I get I've got a lot of trauma. I got, and it's never going to go away. It doesn't matter what I do, it's never going to go away. But I don't want to live in that state. That's a stuck state. That's somebody else's, that energy goes somewhere else. I don't know. I don't want to have that connection to it. Yeah, I still get the flashbacks. Yeah, I still get the feeling states and stuff. But there are tools that we can use to go, okay, well, I've got a symptom that's about to show itself. It is showing itself because it's a symptom. And I don't really want to go there. So what do I need to do? Well, these are the symptoms. Why are you going there? What is the energy? What is the trigger in the first place? So when I can identify what the trigger is, I can switch that off pretty fast. I'm getting, you always get, I work to always get faster at it, to get it um, so to get it to a point where it doesn't have to rule you. You can control it. You can put it back in its space. It's like I look at it for growth. I now see the perpetrators as sick individuals that are never going to change. This is their life. This is what they've chosen. The people around them know what they're capable of doing. If they accept it and they want to stay there and continue doing that and continue perpetrating, then it's not gonna end well for them. But I don't have to be a part of that. I said my piece. I let everybody know the dangers that were involved, mentally, physically, short term, long term, and I stepped out. I step out of it. I'll be sitting here and I can hear somebody having these really good talks about, and this has been a really massive healing tool. The internet has been a massive healing tool. Just listening to other people's experiences on how dark and deep they go on it. There's so many levels to it. When you know that there's parasitical entities also feeding and harnessing the energies that they can, how it's all manipulated. Every part of the industry of being a victim is orchestrated. You've got the medical side, you've got the psychological side. I worked in all of these different industries and saw their code of ethics. Those code of ethics did not line up with mine. The information that they were gathering was not for my best interest. I later, going through the process, you get to see what they're actually looking for in the first place. And it was not to help me. It was to keep me in these stuck states, to keep feeding off these energies. Come back next week and tell me what happened. Tell me in deep, dark, dirty description. We don't need to do that. We don't, you can go there and you can let that out if you want to, but you don't need to keep living it over and over again. As soon as I'm triggered by something, I have to catch myself so that I don't have this ripple effect on those people around me. If I lose it, I'll lose it big time. I'm a berserker.
Yeah. And what's interesting that it is they have turned this into a money-making scheme.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and the word scheme is actually something that the uh, some of the systems I think that it's like, well, what do you mean it's a scheme? That's usually something dastardly, but they talk about these schemes that the government puts together over in the UK to support people, again, what's getting on with that sucking action, in any state thing. But as far as the but as far as the you're talking about for therapy, so if you're going to go in for trauma therapy, you don't have to talk through all that stuff. There are a few modalities out there. You can do EMDR, and that's using where your eye, because when you look up over here, that's because in this part of your brain, that's where your memories are stored, and you're going like this, and you're physically with your this is an outward expression of where you're looking for that memory.
Yeah.
Kind of look at and that, so when you're in so you can do like dialectical behavior therapy. That's also something that's really good. That's more like a group setting, so you have to be healed enough to kind of make it through that. And that's really really been effective for people. But the DBT, the EMDR, and also even CBT, even the cognitive behavior therapy, is
Yeah.
not meant, it was not designed for long-term treatment.
No.
Those design, I think the CBT is you're supposed to be, I think it's either 8 or 12 weeks.
Yeah.
If you're not
Yeah.
that, you gotta figure something else out.
Yeah.
Granted, you have one goal that you work on, and this is where they get you. The money makers is they, okay, you worked on this goal, you got 8 weeks, everything is measurable, and you figured all this out. What's your next goal?
Yeah. Yeah. Goal
So let's
setting.
let's get back, let's get off that merry-go-round and get on another one.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there are many methods. I mean, once you realize where the triggers are coming from, it is a lot easier. It is a lot easier because you don't, what is important to you? What are the very basics that are important to you and your survival? And then work from there. Because if you keep holding on to, you don't have to be in that position where you're constantly being victimized. I mean, you might be in a relationship that is narcissistic, or they don't do what you say, or there's control factors here and there. Well, what are you going to do about it? You're going to keep complaining about it? You're going to do something about it. You're going to get yourself out of that. You're going to find these other ways. I was a solo parent at one stage with absolutely nothing, living in a vehicle. And I had to work out for the first time in my life that where was I going to get an income from? How was I going to feed my kids? I couldn't live out here, you know. I was very fortunate. And it was a police officer that led me in the right direction, a direction. Don't know if it was too much the right direction, but I'm here now because of it. And it led me down the path of becoming an advocate, becoming a budget advisor, but doing budget management, life skills coach, this sort of thing. And I was already doing the caregiving for IHC, I don't like to use those terminologies anymore, but because it's not a disadvantage. The disadvantage is to the person who has to find another way to learn to build their communication base to be able to communicate with the person that communicates on another level. So
Right.
it's like, yeah, yeah. Wellness comes down to consideration, you know, acknowledging that there are limitations to some abilities that people have, why they came into the vessel that they did and ended up the way that they are with their biological limitations. Limitations is only a state of mind. It's all just a state of mind, perception. Some of those that we will see as limited physically or mentally are way more there in other areas. Their other senses are there. When I was in a concussion state, my brain was like do 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 do, but I couldn't get the thought pattern out. I could hear, I could understand, I could do everything else physically, but there was this blockage between the brain and the verbal. So it was very interesting to see that I could still communicate. I just had to write things down or draw pictures and, put my fist up at my sisters and brothers and get out of my way or else. You get through it if you allow yourself to get through it. Now, I want to mention something for people who are listening out there. There are certain telltale signs that, I call them symptoms, and they show addictive behaviors. And an addictive behavior is, okay, you really want to know something, and you go out there and you keep asking you before you realize that you're spending money trying to get these answers. And you're not, when you put yourself out there like that, you reveal your vulnerabilities. And there are predators out there who will harness this resource, you as the resource. I see it as if you don't get the tools that you need in the first two or three tries, stop going out there and having to spend money to do stuff to get the information. You want the information that's right there in front of you. You are already aware of what you've got to do. Pick up some cards yourself. Do some readings for yourself. Do your own divinations. You have the information in here. Get a piece of paper. Write your question down. Go about your daily job and then sit down and you'll see that there and you'll go, oh, and you might have a brain spike or a wave. I call it a kickstart. Okay. And you'll write something down and all of a sudden there's your answer. Your answer starts to grow. It was right in front of you the whole time. But what was stopping you was the fact that you were going out there looking for a savior, looking for somebody else to tell you how to do your A's and B's and C's. When you haven't, when you're not in a place where, okay, you can be told 100 times the same thing and still not hear it. When will you know when to stop and say, I'm not getting this picture? You set yourself a roadmap. How many times have I requested this? If you have to keep yourself a wall chart that says, I thought this way and I asked this person for this, or I wanted this done, and you put it down there, date it, time it, keep a log. Go away from it. The next time it kicks in, write it down. Before you realize it, you will see whether you have an addictive pattern that is forming or not. And if you do see it written down 2 or 3 times every day for a week, every day for 3 days, you better watch out. You better change something. You better identify what it is that is so important for you to know. And if you're not getting the answer where you're seeking it, then you're seeking it in the wrong location. Maybe it's in here deeper because it's not out here. All right. So, yeah.
So, the
I don't
Laura,
know.
uh, but I mean, Laura did ask, and I kind of feel like whatever comes through, and I feel like what is coming through is a collective thing. I don't think it's one person's message.
Yeah,
And I do have some basic knowledge. I try not to read what the books say about the traditions behind. I like to understand the basic symbology on different cards, but the what rings true to me is whatever is going to be in that image, because so the cards are always going to be upright. So whatever is going to be in the image is going to be what comes through. And you're going to get highlighted different things in the image. So for me, the first thing I noticed on this Queen of Cups is that she's hyper focused on her emotions. And that kind of feels like that this is for those that are feeling a little bit on the stuck state, she's really focused. And, if you look at that cup, it's really, really ornate, right? And the Queen of Cups is a Cancer representation. We're in Cancer season right now, right? So
yeah,
this is possibly going to be heightened a little bit. She does have these, little what do you call it, cherubs
yeah.
and little guys hanging around there, kind of watching. Some of them are kind of hiding. It's like, holy shit, what's she gonna do now? And she's kind of grounded. Is her foot's you can't even see her freaking feet. It's like she's immersed in the sea. Her feet
Yeah,
are immersed. Her leg is kind of sort of.
yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So it's kind of interesting. But also you're kind of putting your foot down. Right. So, and this guy came up earlier today when I was doing the noon reading. Uh,
Mm.
this emperor guy is kind of saying, "Hey, wake up, wakey, wakey, sleepy monkeys. Well, let's hone in." He's looking at his shins. Look at how well guard. How many know what it feels like to bark your shin on something? I'm telling you that'll send you to the
Oh, the
moon.
Tobal, like the Tobal.
Oh,
Yeah,
and
right.
you're yeah, and that's like an emotional shin barking, and get yourself armored, and
Yeah.
you're not going to be hyper focused on the emotions. Um, this is going to be a doozy. So it's over. It's done. It's dead.
Oh,
It's okay. We're done.
yeah.
We are unalived. But this is a great thing. Can you imagine that particular character standing up? I think he's kind of pinned to the ground. So
I
getting
think,
up is not going to be easy, but if you notice, that's a horizon. The
yeah,
sun is coming up. The
yeah,
darkness is peeling back. And you're either going to wait there or you're going to resurrect yourself.
yeah.
Real and when you like have like a fairly deep cut and you go to move, you can feel where that cut is, and it does not feel good. If you have like a joint that's been injured or a muscle that's been injured, you try to move that, that's not going to feel good. Can you imagine that this character trying to stand up? He's pinned to the earth. So sometimes we have to get pinned to the earth by whatever means to get
To be
us
ready. Yeah,
to ground. Is this guy well grounded or what? We're
yeah.
gonna. He's got a lot of lightning rods, man. When we're done doing that, there's a victory. There's my
Oh, yeah,
1111.
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
And you're not alone doing this. And you are not the characters. We are not the characters. Those are calling us to walk through that portal of success. They're inviting us to the celebration, to the wedding. And this is giving homage also to divine masculine and divine feminine. Because I didn't really, you can kind of see that the one's a woman and one's a man, but the blue and the red really kind of herald to me that that's what that is. This is, it's coming together. It's not going to be homogenized. It's
Yeah.
not going to be enmeshed. It's not something it's going to always be a separateness. It kind of has to, but they kind of play off of each other. And
Mm.
it is divinely guided. I don't think we can really get any more affirmation that we are being empowered to do this new beginning, especially since we've had such a wonderful ending, right? Not particularly comfortable, but we've had this thing that's come through. And we're ready for that ship.
New
We're ready to
path.
move on. Um, I think that's pretty much it. We're ready for this next stage.
Yeah.
Um, he's not moving real quick, y'all. So the
No,
recovery's not going to be quick.
I see him as a guardian. He's watching.
And also there are going to be some skirmishes. Everybody's not going to agree with you.
Mm,
You're going to have to go through it like everybody else did. But you're not going to go anywhere until you see yourself here and you're standing.
yeah.
And when you're standing up, you're going to be able to then walk through this portal. You're going to get the affirmations for the new beginning. It's
Yep.
not going to be necessarily quick, but it's going to be profitable.
Yeah.
Um, and it's not everybody's going to agree with you.
Yep.
Dang. I don't say dang. I say dang, Skippy. Right?
Oh dear.
But
Okay.
I
Well,
don't
the
know, man.
first,
That's kind of what I got because it's hard, and maybe I can say that because we've all been through those types of things, and keeping that sense of humor is going to be really important.
yes, it is. It is. I
So
saw
don't be a
your
jackwagon. Don't be hypersensitive to somebody's sense of humor.
I saw your water queen with her her dress was like the waterfall, like the flowing of water going, and then I with the chalice she was holding, to me from where I'm sitting, it looked like a little person, a little being with a big
Oh,
head that she was having a communication with. So it wasn't like the cup didn't need to be filled with water. It was a being that was standing there. Um, and then the next one I didn't get much about the cherubs. I just basically this is a celestial thing. She's surrounded with this kind of celestial information. The Emperor, I got when you said the shins, I laughed because, I've got pauldrons and I've got all sorts of metal armor here. And yeah, I've walked into that blood. I put a tennis ball on the end of it still gets me though. It still gets me. I think I'm just short enough.
oh,
I saw him as armored up and strength, and he's ready for anything that comes along. Um, okay, and then I got the swords, the wounds. That's a deep wounding. This is really something has really affected us
yep,
really deeply, and we're in a very deep emotional healing state at the moment. We are going to come out of this. All right. You're not a prisoner. And then there was the balance. The 1111, I got balance. I got a nice balance. We get through that rubbish. We go, okay, we can see it. We can see it in the horizon, what we want to get to, and then the magic wands. That's when the veil is lifted. That's when the realization is that we got through it. Now, what do we want? Now we want to improve it. We got to get our strength back. We got to get our breath back, and we got to get back into the momentum of it. And then I got the new pathways. That was like, so we've cleared it. We've got past that rubbish. We've identified it. We've cleared it. Now we're moving forward. And then I've got the guardian. So whatever what we're doing, we're being watched. I look at it as he is a guide. He's a guide. It's like this is where, plentiful lands are going to come again, but we need to survey them first. We need to survey the fallout and see what we can clean up. And then I got a new level of knowledge, new awarenesses of behavior patterns, and so that was your reading was beautiful. My concept of what I saw was wow, that was gorgeous. I love it. I love it
Yeah.
when you do your reads. Anybody who does reading, it's like when you hold the card up, the card will say something different to everybody. But there's this energy about the card that will speak to you. I can pick up a playing pack of cards, with the four suits in it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see the suits. They tell me a message, the severity of the message. I do a casting of it doesn't matter if it comes out up or down, I will read it for the way that it comes out, but it's not about receiving a bad message per se. It's about being aware that these are potential areas of concern. And if you have the heads up on it, when it does show itself, you don't have to be waiting for it to show itself. Okay, you don't have to be waiting for this stuff to come to fruition. Get on with your life, do what you're doing. You will know, you will recognize it when it shows itself to you,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll be like, okay, yeah, that was right, or that was wrong, or I don't see it that way at this point. It's not going to be relevant to everybody as long as you're aware that this is all how it speaks to your energy, how it resonates with you where you're at this time. And I mean, don't be stuck in that one position, because some other energy is going to come along, and it's, by you being in that energy's frequency, it's going to upgrade your frequency. I prefer the word upgrade than, awakening, because I like to know that I'm improving myself. I am moving forward with this. The currents, the flows, the economics, they were all there within your cards. So basically it's what I'm seeing happening with this planet right now. We're going to get through it. I know we're going to get through it. We have
Yeah.
done every other.
I think that cycle of repeat, I think we're like, if we don't break this, if we don't make this happen, if we don't get out of being pinned onto the ground, we're well earthed at this point. We're well grounded. It's going to end up with some emotional and spiritual chafing. We all know what it feels like to be chafed, man. We don't want to be doing that. That's not a fun place to be for sure. But the other thing about this whole queen is she is I really see her as like I gotta put my thing around. Like she's really, can you see her
Yeah,
face?
not really. It just looks like she looks almost like she's frowning.
She looks really ticked.
Okay.
This one's mad. I don't use this deck very often, and I don't use it on for the YouTube stuff because there's some nerdity in it. There's some skin that doesn't follow their guidelines. But yeah, she's peeved, and yeah, something's pissed her off, and she's got a pretty good grip on that cup.
Yeah,
And it's almost like that being that you saw in the cup itself
yeah.
is like it's almost like it's throwing its little hands up going, what the hell are
That's
you
right.
doing, man? God
Yeah,
bless America. Will you please let it
yeah.
go, lady, already? You know, funny, I'm trying to like get things organized and I flip the deck over and talk about a freaking stuck state.
Yeah,
I'm hanging on to this and I'm not letting go.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, so we have that empowerment. We saw the other cards with the four um of wands, and was it the ace of wands as well? I can't remember.
yeah,
Yeah, so that was too. That was all part of it. That fluidity that's
yeah,
saying, hey, you still got to be doing the stepping. You still got to do the work. You still got to do it. You're the one
yeah.
pinned on the ground. You're the one nobody's going to take those swords out of your back.
No,
Nobody. Now, you can ask for the strength and the flexibility, because let's face it, pulling something out of your back's not easy. But
yeah,
if you're the one who has to do it, then you're going to have to facilitate getting your body limber enough that you're going to safely be able to extract those.
Yeah.
Yeah, those self-inflict, some of them are self-inflicted, by the way. Not
Yeah.
all of those were put there by somebody else. Typically we are, even if we feel like, oh, they did this to me, will you put yourself in a position to allow that to happen?
Yeah.
So forgive yourself, and then you don't have to forgive the other people, but when you forgive yourself, the rest of it just kind of starts to dissolve. And
Yeah.
like you said, once that track is there, um, you're probably always going to have that scar.
Yeah.
So that's the trigger part.
Yeah. That's the memory. That's the like you can, yeah, that's the reminder.
Hmm.
That's the reminder,
It's
you
okay to
know.
remember. You just don't want
Yeah.
to live there.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Pinned to a
right.
beach,
Yeah.
face down in the
All right.
dark.
I ran out of topics on my board today.
Okay. All
But
right.
everything looks nice.
Yep, I think so. Yeah, we're gonna have to do this again real soon. Like next Friday, I think you were talking to somebody, and we're not gonna say who that is.
Yep.
Maybe have a guest on for a roughshod ramblings on Friday. What do you think?
Yep. I will put the message out there and see what the result is.
All right.
Yes.
Well, I hope she says
Look,
yes and it all works
there's
out because
always
it's a
yep.
new experience for me, and I'm all
Yeah.
I'm all about that. Right.
Yeah.
All
We
right.
can go both ways. We can go both ways on this, so it's all good. Anyway, thank you everybody for coming and joining us again on another insightful challenge. And I will see you again. I know that, and I'm pretty sure Auric will too. So in your court there, girl.
All righty. And I guess that be that, and we will see if you got.
Oh,
Oh, what?
yeah. Happy Reincarnation Day.
There you go. I usually tell people as they ask me to sign a birthday card, I just many happy returns of the day.
Yeah. No,
That's it. That's it.
mine's happy re-entry. That's good
Re-entry
job.
day. I know, right?
Yeah.
Plotted and planned,
Oh,
much
yeah.
to my stuff. I like that. Arizona doesn't say blessings, she says blessings. So you can be blissed.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
I
bliss.
like that. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. I like blessings. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So do make sure that you're clicking on that notifications bell because I don't know about Stone, but I'm kind of random here. It's going to be that way probably on and off, and it's going to get even more random probably next month. I'll have a lot more time to be harassing the masses.
Yes, yeah.
So, so yes.
Yeah, it's
So
going.